dear class 10 students, welcome back to Deeksha Vedantu. This is your SST faculty Tanvi Ma'am, and today we are going to start a very important series, and that is most important questions. So basically this is not only the most important questions but are the most expected questions that will be the part of your exams in 2026. Dear students, in this series we have included 2-marker questions, 3-marker, 4-marker that is case-based questions, and very important that is 5-marker question. Now you will ask me, ma'am, what about 1-marker questions or MCQs? So my dear students, we have started live sessions on our channel. Like for example, yesterday I went live with the same chapter we are going to discuss today, that is money and credit. And my dear students, you know the importance of this chapter in economics, because you know in total we have 4 chapters in economics, and this plays a very important role because it have a huge weightage in your exam. Okay, before moving to the practice of questions, I want to discuss about what this chapter deals like. Okay, however, one short explanation and rapid revision for this chapter is already been uploaded, but let us have a let us have a timeline about this chapter. So this chapter basically starts with a topic that is barter system. Okay, when money used not to exist, there was a system, barter system, in which goods were exchanged as per the needs. Like for an example, a shoemaker want to buy wheat, he will give shoes to the person and in exchange will get the wheat. But this was possible only because of double coincidence of want, and later it was replaced by money. The next topic is modern form of money, which have currency, which have demand with deposit and check facilities as well. Then let us talk to the next topic that deals with the working of bank, how the bank works. Okay. Then we have 2 important topics from which 5-marker question is for sure, that is cooperatives, work style of cooperatives, as well as self-help group. Now in this series I have also added certain PYQs, previously asked question, so that you can have a clear visibility how important the chapter is. Okay, so once again my dear students, welcome to Deeksha Vedantu. Now let us move with a 2-marker question first. Okay, and the question is, why do lenders ask for collateral while lending? Explain. So I'll explain the answer, but before moving to the answer, I want to tell you that whenever you go to bank, okay, whenever you go to the bank, there are certain requirements that you need to fulfill. Okay, and that among that requirement, the first one is interest rate, because bank is not going to give you money for free, rather it will charge a percentage of interest rate on it. The second thing is that you need to keep something as collateral. Now what is that something? So basically it can be something that can prove a asset for the bank, like your land. Okay, so you'll keep the registry of your land to the bank, or you have a house. Okay, you have gold which can also be sold by the bank in case you are a defaulter, you are not paying back the loan. Okay, the third one is your basic documentation is required, like Aadhaar card, PAN card, etc. And last one, how you are going to repay the loan. So method of repayment. Why I am telling this? Because this 4 requirements need to be fulfilled while you are taking loan from the bank. Now come back to the question, why do lender ask for collateral while lending? Explain. Now by this explanation, you just understand that a lender always want or ask for collateral. But the question is, why do they ask? Okay, the first thing is because it works as a guarantee to a lender until the loan is repaid. Like assume some of you friend asked you that give me 1,000 rupees, I'll give back to you after a week. Now you are in doubt that my friend will give back or not. Then you did what? Just give me your watch. After the time you will repay the amount to me, I'll give back your watch in return. Get my point? So this is basically a guarantee until the loan is repaid. Okay, and in case the borrower fails to repay the loan, pay attention, if the borrowers fail to repay the loan, the lender has the right to sell that asset or collateral to obtain the payment, because they will not face what? The loss anyhow. My dear students, pay attention over here. Whenever the question is for 2 marks, okay, whenever the question is for 2 marks, just stick to 2 important, valid and different points. Okay, do not keep the points to be repetitive, but keep the points to be different and valid for the answer. Okay, and this is how you are going to solve this 2-marker question. I have added more such 2-marker questions. Let us talk about them. Okay, the next is, how does a bank work as a key component in the financial system? Now see, they are asking about the importance and the working of the bank. Now we know that we earn in our living. For a living we earn money. Okay, we spend money on our daily necessities. We have certain expenditures in life, but there are times when we have excess amount of money. We just, without any thinking, go to the bank, okay, and keep the money as deposit. Why do you go to the bank and not to your relative or something else? Because you feel safe for considering bank as a safest institution, right? So this is somewhere bank has become what? This is a mediator. Basically, this is a mediator between whom? Between the person who has excess of money or among the person who lacks in money. Okay, if a person lacks in money and want the loan, the best and the safest institution will be bank. When you have excess of money, you will keep your money in bank. So this is why bank is important. So bank basically plays the role of mediator between those who have surplus funds, who are considered as depositors. Pay attention, they are referred as depositors. And those who are in the need of funds, who are considered as borrowers. Okay, the second one is, bank accepts the deposit and also pay an amount interest on the depositor. Like, look, I'll tell you, basically bank is a mediator. Okay, whenever a person has ample of money, okay, they will go to the bank and deposit that money, because now this money is in excess and they feel safe to keep it in bank. Okay, whenever a person needs money, the person will ask the bank for that, and that is referred as borrower. Get it? Whenever bank will give money to the borrower, it will charge interest on it. Obviously, it is not for free. But whenever deposit is kept with the bank, they also give some interest on it. And do you know, this interest is less than what they charge on the borrower, and the difference between the two is known as earning of the bank. And this is how the bank functions. We have already dealt with the same in the chapter. The third point here, because I know that this is a 2-mark question, but for safe side I have added 3 points. The third one is, bank uses the major portion of the deposit to meet the loan requirement of the people. That's it. Whenever we deposit the money, how bank uses it? Bank gives that money as a loan requirement to the people, charge interest on it and earn. Likewise, the cycle goes on and on. Now the question is, pay attention here, my dear students. See, this is a very, very important series. From this series, I just want to teach you how question comes in your examination. Like, this question particularly came in CBSE 2019. And we know that SST syllabus is such that it can repetitively asked in your exam. Question is, how is double coincidence of want non-appreciable in contemporary scenario? Now what happens sometimes, now one question comes like this, round and round, we get anxious that how to solve it. It's very easy. They just want that how double coincidence of want cannot exist in current situation. Right? We know that right now we are using money as a mediator of exchange for goods and services, because it is not the time that always there will be double coincidence of want. What it is, let us talk about it. For double coincidence of want, it needed that individual must require what the other individual is willing to give away. and vice versa. For an example, the example is given in your NCERT book also. There is a shoemaker. He makes the shoe and he requires wheat. Now whenever he will go to the market to buy this wheat, it should be the requirement of the wheat seller also that he wants to buy shoes from the shoemaker. Okay, and that certain condition cannot exist in the contemporary scenario, because now we have a very, very big world. This could have existed in the ancient times and it was done. Okay, in this situation is not reached, exchange of good does not happen. This problem is eliminated by the use of money that everyone wants, right? Everyone is just working hard for money. Okay, so hope you are enjoying the lecture, my dear students. You just need to do one thing to get the PDF for the chapter we are dealing. Okay, for the answers of all the 2-marker question, you just need to join this WhatsApp channel. The link is given in description. Here you will be updated for the upcoming lives. You will get the PDFs of all the lecture series and many more TPPs, such that things. Okay. Now, level is up because we are starting with 3-marker question. Okay, what I have seen is from this chapter particularly, 3-marker questions and 5 markers are more asked in comparison to 2-marker. However, we have practiced that also because we must be ready for every situation. Okay, for 3 markers, how do demand deposit have essential features of money? Now, for demand deposit, you should know that what is demand deposit. Okay, so the topic from our book is that what are the modern form of currency. Okay, what are the modern form of currency? In that modern form of currency, modern form of money. Okay, in that modern form of money, the first one is currency. Okay, the second one is demand deposit and the third one is check. Now, what is demand deposit? Let us talk about it. It is check and how it is essential feature of money. Now, I said that whenever you have extra cash in your pocket, like you got your salary credited as cash, you spend a lot. After that, somehow you have saved something, you go to bank and keep it as a deposit. So the extra cash is deposited in the bank on which interest is paid to you by the bank. But maybe there might certain expenditure come in front of you, like you want to buy a PS5 or something like that. Then what you will do, you will go to the bank and ask them to withdraw the money. Okay, so will the money be withdrawn easily? Yes, it can be. So whenever the people also have the provision to withdraw the money as per their requirement or as per their demand, then this type of deposit is known as what? Demand deposit, and it is, yes, one of the very, very important characteristics of what? Money. Okay, did you get my point? Achha, other than that, we have also one more thing that is referred as FD. Basically, it is fixed deposit. What it is? Fixed deposit whenever you deposit your money for a fixed period of time, let's say 5 years, etc. Okay, and interest will be charged, and interest will be given to you by the bank in such case. Got my point here? So this is how demand deposit has a very, very important feature. Next important question in the line is Reserve Bank of India plays a crucial role in regulating the Indian banks. Justify the statement. So do you know, students, that Reserve Bank of India is known as bankers of the bank? How? Right? If we talk about Reserve Bank of India, basically it is one of the highest banking institution in India. Okay, how does it works? How does it plays a crucial role? Here we need to answer in 3 points. However, I have added 4 points so that sometimes it is asked as a 5-marker question, you would easily answer. Okay, the first thing that RBI is doing is supervising the functioning of the bank. Now we can say that in every area right now have different types of bank. What if nobody would regulate the bank, right? They would have charged the interest rate as per their mood, etc., as per their demands, and that would have like manipulated the people or affected the people in terms of economy. So it was a huge need to regulate the bank. Who would have done this? For that, an institution was made, that is RBI. It supervises the functioning of the bank. It ensures that a bar of the interest rate is kept or not, right? The credit, they are giving credit to each and every one in the society, or just keeping the credit for the creamy layer of the society which are just giving corruption to them, and many more such things. They need to regulate, because what happens now, when banks are not regulated, sometimes they are considered, they prove themselves to be bankrupt, or they become defaulters. We have seen the examples of such in the past, right? For example, the Sahara Bank, it was one of the popular one in the India at a time, and suddenly it become a bankrupt bank. Why? It might have not followed the regulating policies made by RBI. The next one is to maintain cash balance. Now what happened now? Now bank is mediating between whom? Depositors as well as borrowers. What if all the money that is deposited is given by the bank to borrowers, and suddenly the depositors come back and ask back the money? The bank will have nothing, no fund for that backup. In that case, okay, for that case, RBI asks to maintain a cash balance, and that is referred as cash reserve ratio. This is to be kept by every bank in compulsion. Okay, check fair lendings. Are they lending the money equally to everyone in the society, or just giving to profit making businessmen, to the big people who are just giving them corrupted money, etc. Okay, so RBI checks that. And even it collects information, the bank need to provide report to them after every time interval, to whom they are lending, how much they are lending, what are the interest rate they are asking for, etc, etc. So basically, the supervision helps in maintaining stability, fairness and trust in the banking system. And do you know, the most and the important task that RBI is doing to issue currency in India. Okay, so on the behalf of central government of India, who issues the currency in India? It is the institution, that is RBI. Do you remember, whenever it comes for 5 marker, you can add that point also. Okay, so by this 3 marker, you not only learned the 3 marker question, rather you guys have learned just now a 5 marker question. I suggest you that after viewing this video, after watching this video, you should practice each and every question in your notebook. I will not ask you to write whole questions in detail, rather just write the keywords what I mentioned here and underline the keywords here. Okay, so use them. Moving to the next 3 markers in sequence. Explain any 3 functions of money as a medium of exchange. Now pay attention. Sometimes what happened now, this is considered to be as easiest question from the chapter, but whenever we start writing, we sometimes doesn't get the accurate points for this. Okay, we will talk about it. So in ancient time, the people were dependent on double coincidence of want, we just studied. Okay, they dependent on what, my dear students? Double coincidence of want. But it was not possible every time that the person wants the same good in exchange. So to replace that, we have introduced money. Now, what money is acting as? Money is acting basically as a medium. Okay, medium of what? Medium of exchange. What is exchanging here? So you are exchanging goods. Now added is services by this money. Okay, so yes, money functions as a medium of exchange. Why? Because it facilitates the exchange of goods and service. See, my explanation itself contains the first point of the answer, that it facilitates the exchange of what? Goods and services. Okay, the second one, it eliminates the double coincidence of want. The loophole that lies in the structure of double coincidence of want is eliminated by the introduction of what? Money. And everywhere money is accepted as a means of payment. For an example, we know that the international currency is dollar. Okay, whenever an international trade will happen, you will pay the money in dollar. But whenever you are in India, you need to get the goods and services. The medium of exchange, the medium of payment will be rupee. Who has authorized to make this rupee or payment in rupee only? So it is the central government, and nobody can deny any payment done in this rupee in nation and in dollar internationally. Do you get my point? So this is how there are the three important functions of money as a medium of exchange. Okay, my dear students, now going to the next questions. We are doing this in good speed. By the end of this lecture, I just want every student of mine to get all the questions very nicely. Okay, now coming to the next one, that is cheap and affordable credit is essential for country's development. Justify the statement. Now the question here talks about the second important word of this chapter along with money, that is credit, right? Whenever the salary is coming, right, the message will be the salary is credited in your account, right? And it gives a very good feeling. You might not understand it right now, but I don't think that, because you people are doing great job. You people are content creators, you are working on YouTubes and many more freelancing thing now students are doing. So I think that some of you may understand that feeling when money is credited in your account, right? So now here credit is not only the money that is from salary. Rather, if you are taking loan from some another person, then also the money is credited. Okay, so cheap and affordable credit is essential because there was a time in India when very high interest rate was charged. Let us talk about British government. The revenue policies were so harsh on the farmers. There was so high interest rate, right? Even on other people also. So that was harsh. Zamindars have a very harsh policy over that. So cheap one and affordable one is very essential, because what happens now, whenever a farmer wants to grow crops and he will get a loan at cheap price, the person will be able to buy the seeds, the fertilizers in an affordable price, so that he can work and give back the money to the economies, like country's economic development. Did you get my point? Now let us talk about what are the points we need to write in answers. Increased lending will lead to higher income. Whenever there will be cheap and affordable credit, the people will ask for money more in number, and it will lead to higher income. Encourage people to invest in agriculture. The example I just gave you right now, there will be encouragement in terms of business. Like if we see nowadays everyone is getting into business. Why? Because there are certain credit facilities easily available in the market, okay, and small scale industries as such. The cheap credit leaves more income with borrowers from reinvestment. That will accelerate economic growth. And the third and the important point is that the cheap credit will help the weaker section of society to access formal lending. Like if we talk about weaker section of society that particularly lives in rural areas, for a very long time bank facility was not accessible to them. However, when bank become accessible to them, there were certain loopholes, like they were not able to give the documents required because they were not literate enough to make that documents, right? They had no collateral and many such things. But whenever the cheap credit is provided to them in comparison to money lenders in the rural areas, this attracted them, okay, and they get out of the exploitation by the informal sector and moved towards formal sector. Whenever they move towards formal sector, it enhances their economic background. Eventually, it will enhance the country's economic situation as well. Did you get my point? So the 3 points, 3 important things why cheap and affordable credit is essential for country's development are such that clear or not? Just give me a thumbs up in the comment section if everything is clear to you and you are enjoying the lecture, and also mention what next chapter do you want as per your pre-board demands or your exam preparation. I'll be there with you throughout your journey. Okay, the next 3 marker is how is credit. Now see, again and again from the same topic, credit, how they are just changing the framework of the question and giving you, okay, how is credit essential for economic activities, explained with examples. They talk about how cheap and affordable. Here they are talking about how it is essential. So yes, we know that it is helpful for our financial growth, because whenever there will be credit, there will be country's growth and economic development for sure. More people will engaged in the work like farming activities. There will be people who can start their own business, like we talk about entrepreneurship, or there will be small scale business, small scale industries being set up with the help of credit facilities here. Okay, these are just the headings for your answer. You can elaborate your points by using the thing I am telling you here. The next one is, it helps in the development of agriculture in rural areas. Again, you can add the point that in rural areas, the people were dependent on informal sector. Okay, after the credit facilities, they eventually came out by the exploitation of this informal sector and got dependent on formal sectors of lending or credit, which eventually helped the development in agriculture and later the country's development too. Credit aids the expansion of business, I already discussed, and it promotes an entrepreneurship as well. Did you get my point? So this is an important question from credit. Now 2 repeated questions have been asked from the same topic, so you can understand how this thing is important. They will ask the questions after just reframing it again and again. Do not get confused, be concentrated and write the correct points I just told you. Okay, frame your answer in a manner that is helpful. Now, next one, again a 3 marker question that we are going to move to a 5 marker as well. How are formal sources more beneficial than informal sources of credit? Explain by giving 3 arguments. Okay. Now there are 2 types of credit sources. One is formal and the other one is informal. Its difference is also being asked in exams. Before moving to that, I'll give you a brief introduction to these topics. Okay. Formal sources of credit are the sources of credit that are supervised by RBI. Okay, they are supervised by RBI. For an example, any bank around you, it can be public bank or private bank. Okay, it can be cooperatives, it can be SHGs, etc. However, informal sector has no supervision by RBI. It can be your relatives who can ask you for so much interest rate if you do not have good terms with them. Okay, then it can be money lenders around you and many more such persons. So now the question is not the difference between the two, rather the question is how this formal sources more beneficial than informal sources. Explain by giving arguments. Now you need to give 3 valid arguments to get 3 marks. Okay, the first one here is because they charges low rate of interest. Now you might be thinking, ma'am, it is regulated by RBI and it followed certain provisions by the government. Why does it charge low interest rate? Because it is supervised by RBI. The answer is again the same. Right? RBI keep an eye on the bank that it does not cross the bar set up by RBI so that people can get cheap and affordable credit. Low interest rate will eventually attract them and they will shift from informal sectors, because people here in the informal sectors has been exploiting them since ages, like we talk about zamindars and money lenders in history. Okay, so low interest rate, basically formal sources charges reasonable and fixed interest rate that reduces the burden to the borrower. A very valid point that people will shift to the formal sectors. The second one is regulated and fair system. Yes, again it is a point because it is regulated by RBI. It will check that the people are protected against exploitation or not. This is basic responsibility of RBI to do. And the third one is it encourages development because government too wants the nations to be developed. Okay, so cheap and timely loans for the formal sources help people invest in farming, okay, setting up small industries, doing trade, leading higher income that eventually will lead to economic growth. So these are the three valid reasons for the answer. Let us revise. Why are people dependent on formal sector? Okay, how is formal sector beneficial against informal sector? First point will be low interest rate. Second point will be regulated and fair system, and my dear students, third is it encourages development. Okay, so hope one more question is clear to each and every student of mine out here. Moving to the next one, and I'm very happy to share you out that we have covered around 5-6 3 markers, we have covered 3 2 markers, and we are moving toward a 5 marker series now. And do you know that from money and credit particularly, 5 marker has a huge weightage, right? I have seen that since in the last previous year question papers that the question has been asked from for the section of 5 markers. Okay, now imagine, the question is, imagine yourself to be XYZ, or name yourself as a person, a member of a women self-help group. Now see, one of the most important topic of this chapter, SHG, that is self-help group. So now you are XYZ, a member of women self-help group. Analyze the way through which your group provides loan to the members. Very important one. We will talk completely about that now. Now basically what is SHG? Okay, so SHG, the full form is self-help group. Self-help group. What happened? You might have seen women doing kitty parties, etc., etc. However, that structure had helped people in villages, in rural areas very much, and this concept is somewhere self-help groups. What happened now? In rural areas, okay, the women used to live around each other, okay, they had no source of earning, or might be they were doing some works because of which they get very less amount of money. One day they all decided to collect it, okay, and that framed the structure of SHG. See, what is SHG? Basically it is the group of 15 to 20 members, okay, who are living around each other, right? They came together one day and decided that they will save certain amount of money daily. It can be 10 rupees, it can be 20 rupees, it can be 100 rupees as per their ability. Okay, they decided to collect it daily. Now they are collecting it daily. They are getting a good amount of money in their group, right? Some of the women want to start a business, a small business, but she doesn't have the money. She asked that group, can I use that money which we collected? The group said, okay, but you will be giving a small interest rate on it, right? If you would have went to money lender or you would have went to the formal sector, that is bank, they would have charged you a lot of money. So do one thing, give us a small interest rate. She said yes. She took the loan from that group, started the business and paid back to the group. Now this group is working this thing regularly for a long period of time. Whenever certain group exists, it gets registered within the government, and now it has become eligible to take loan from the bank. Now see, when every such woman, right, if every such particular woman would have went to bank separately, they would have maintained all the requirements like collateral, like documentations, etc. separately. The problem has solved with a group, right? Now they need to just show the papers of that group and eventually they can avail the benefits of loan facilities from the bank. This is how an SHG works. So see the 5 points so that you can write a perfect answer in your exam. Self-help group pool their saving. This is the key word here. Not pooling their income, they are pooling their what? Savings. Do not forget to write the word savings here. A typical SHG has 15 to 20 members. How many members? 15 to 20 members, usually belonging to near neighborhood, who meet daily and save regularly. Okay, saving per member varies from 25 to 100 or more depending upon their ability, how much able they are to save the money. Members can take small loans from the group, the example I just gave you, to meet their requirements or need. Okay, the group charges interest on these loans and this is the income of the group. But this is still less than what the money lender were charging and they were exploiting them. Okay. After a year or two, if the group is regular in saving, it become eligible to avail loan from the bank. So this is a story of SHG. Very easy way to secure your 5 marks is this question, because for sure this is going to be the part either of your pre-boards or a final board exam. For sure you will remember me that day that yes, this question came in your exam, ma'am. Okay, give me a thumbs up in the comment section if you understood this. Moving to the next 5 mark question over here. Imagine you are a village development officer. So basically in every village, in rural area, there is a DO, that is development officer of the village. Okay. Explain the usefulness of formal sources of credit for farmers. Now this is a very huge responsibility that government jobs give you. You are being allotted as a position of village officer in a village. Right? Now you need to teach the farmers that you people are dependent on informal source of credit since years. Okay, and these people are exploiting you by charging a very high interest rate. You should shift to formal sector. So this is very genuine that now pay attention, the question is not direct. It is not asking you that write the benefits of formal sources of credit. It is just diverting you so that you can get confused and answer it right. So pay attention. You need to answer here that what are the usefulness of formal sector. How will you explain to the farmer? You will go to the farmer and tell that, look, you will get low interest rate. The farmer said, okay, I'll get the low interest rate. By how I will avail it? Because I don't have anything to keep as collateral. I don't understand how to fill that application form, right? I don't have any documents that are required. Though being a development officer, you need to pay attention of that. Then you will explain about fair and regulated system. Okay, how regulated it is by RBI. Okay, how it is fair in terms of what we can say interest rate applied. Nobody, for everyone loan will be applied, not only given not only to the big businessmen, etc. Okay, and you are even able to apply different types of loan, like you are accessible to gold loan. Okay, then we can take loan for property. You can take loan for buying all the basic seeds, fertilizers, etc. for farming and many more such things. You need to tell them that it encourages economic growth and reduces your dependency on informal sector, because these informal sector charging very high interest, and when you are unable to pay them, you go into debt trap. But however, bank will help you in such cases because insurance is also provided and many more such things. Okay, so keeping in mind that you are a development officer, write all these 5 points. Now pay attention, my dear bachas. These are just the points. Okay, you need to explain them in detail to avail the 5 marks. Okay, don't think that just by writing the points itself you will get the marks. You need to explain them in detail. Okay, moving to the next 5 marker in the list, and very important. I am sure this will also be the part either of your pre-boards or boards, and that is analyze the difference between formal and informal sources of credit. Okay, so the best way to write the difference is this. Okay, how? You need to write basically highlighted points over here and then write the difference between the two. So on what basis you are differentiating them right here? Formal sources of credit, then informal sources of credit. The first basis is about their regulation. We know that formal sources of credit are regulated by, IBI has written here, it's RPI. Okay, so my bad, it's not IBI, it's RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, bankers of the bank. Okay, however, the informal sources of credit are not regulated by any of the organization. If we talk about interest rate, it is low. Okay, and fixed interest rate is there. You cannot manipulate the customers as per your requirements or demands. So it is low. However, in the informal sector, it is high because someone has come in need that I want this amount of money. You will definitely take the what we can say, you will definitely use that situation. Oh, the person needs money, let me charge more amount of interest rate, right? Will you do that? Similarly, things happens in informal sector. Documentation and collateral, to increase number of points, you can separate them. Okay, you can write documentation as a separate point and collateral as a separate point. Like if we talk about documentation, informal sector, it is required. However, in informal sector, it is not required. Fine. If we talk about collateral, yes, something needs to be kept as collateral to the bank whenever we want to take loan from formal sector. However, in informal sector, if you have good, like if you went to your relative to ask for money, will they ask that give your land registry, so only then we will give that loan? No such collateral is kept, as rules or regulations are not followed in informal sector. Last and the very, very important point is example, right? The formal sector includes banks and cooperative societies. However, the informal sector includes like what we can say, the option is not correct here. You can write money lenders. Okay, then you can write relatives, etc. In informal sector. Okay, you can also add zamindars over here. Got my point or not? A very, very important 5-marker question. Differentiate between formal and informal sectors, and successfully somewhere around we have solved 10 questions. Okay, learning 10 questions from money and credit chapter in a short span of time, and I think that this will help for you. Okay, moving to the next one in series, let us see which question is that. Analyze the situation in which credit pushes the borrower into a situation from which recovery is painful. Now you might be thinking, ma'am, up till now you were talking so positive about credit. Oh, credit helps in economic growth. Okay, credit gives money to you at low interest rate. Now why this a negative question? Because credit, yes, it's a situation that puts you into a painful situation. Now let us talk about that. See, there are two credit situations in your NCERT book also. One about that farmer, okay, and one about that shoemaker. The lady farmer took loan from the money lender, okay, now did her farming, but eventually drought, this was the year of drought, and all her crops got failed. Now she is unable to repay that loan. To repay that loan, however, she will take another loan from another person and pay that person. What if the next crop also fail? And after that also, after that earning also, she need to spend on the farming activities also, right? And this is how again and again she is taking loan from different people. That pushes the person into a situation that is known as debt trap. Okay, however, consider that you are a shoemaker, you took loan from someone and fulfill your order of 100 shoes, right? You kept the expenditure, your profit, and then repaid the loan you took. That is a positive one. But always it is not. Like we can see right now, everyone has credit cards, right? And sometimes we spend a lot of money, even more than the limit we earn. What we do? We take another credit card and then pay the loan. the loan of first credit card. What about the second one? So yeah, that is a situation, that is a modern situation of debt trap that urban people are facing, right? And eventually it will create a problem. It will make recovery very, very painful. Okay, so dear students, to answer this 5-marker question, we will talk about both the cases, okay, of rural areas and informal sector. So bank usually referred as a formal source of credit, but in some situations the borrowers are not able to pay that loan, and that situation is painful. For example, in case of rural area, see, yes, you can write this answer with the help of example, it will be helpful. In case of rural areas, if crop fail due to certain natural factors, it would be difficult for the farmers to pay the loan. Okay. In case of failure of business also, this will be difficult for the businessman to pay that credit. Third is, in case of informal sector, the rate of interest is very high, due to which if crop failed, the person will not be able to give all the amount she or he has taken as loan. In case of high risk activities, like someday you plan an entrepreneurship activity and you plan that you will start a business, but it was so risk taking, but you took that risk, however failed, then from that painful situation, how will you get out? Okay, in that situation you lose your collateral, or we can say that you lose your asset that you keep to the bank as a guarantee that I'll pay the loan. Get my point or not? So basically the debt trap itself is very painful, and to come out of that situation, again losing your collateral is very, very painful. Did you get the whole scenario of this question? Right? And did you get how to answer this question? Give me a thumbs up in the comment section. That will help you. Fine. Get my point here? Now see, students, here we know that in every exam of ours, SST exam, there is one important question that is referred as case-based question. Okay, it is referred as what, bacha? Case-based question, and it is for how many marks? It is for 4 marks. You might be thinking that, ma'am, it is very easy. We just need to read that extract and answer it accordingly. But wait, I'll tell you that many of the students lose mark in this easiest activity also. Because why? We don't practice, na? We don't practice enough. We are so confident that we will answer from the extract. What if they consider that class 10 students are now grown up and we will ask the question something related but out of the extract? That would be a difficult situation. To get prepared for that, we need to solve some of the CBQs, case-based questions, okay? In every chapter discussion for this most important question, we will have a homework question for case-based questions, okay? Read the extract thoroughly and answer the question. For the very first time, I'm going to help you, but for the next sometimes, you will be doing it as a homework, okay? Let's read this extract. Loans from cooperative besides bank, the other major sources of cheap credit in rural areas are. Now, how to read a case-based question? While reading, always use your pencil to highlight the keywords so that whenever you answer, you get the answer very quickly. So, loans from cooperatives, okay, these are besides the what bank? Major source of cheap credit, okay, where? In rural areas. Fine, get it. Members of cooperative do what? Pool their resources. Again, a keyword here. For cooperatives in certain areas, there are several types of cooperatives possible, such as farmer cooperatives, weavers cooperatives, industrial workers cooperatives, etc. Got my point? Krishak cooperative functions in a village not very far from Sodhpur. It has 2,300 farmers as members. It accepts what? Deposits from its members. Fine. With these deposits at collateral, now see, this deposit act as what? Collateral. The cooperatives has obtained a large loan from the bank. These funds are used to provide loans to the members Once these loans are repaid, another round of lending takes place. Krishak Cooperative provide loan to the purchase of agriculture implements, loan for cultivation, agriculture trade, fisheries, etc. and variety of expenses. Now see how I have highlighted the keywords from this topic. Now let us solve the question. Cooperative society come under which source of credit? Now what you will do? You'll go see. Okay, it comes under formal source of credit. Get it? Mention any two source of capital of cooperative societies. Two source of capital. Go read it again. Write your answer. Explain the role of cooperative societies in increasing the income of person. Now this is basically a thinking based question. They are testing your intelligence over here. Okay, so do not spend time in just finding it from here. Write your answers rather. Got my point? This is the way how we can solve what? A case-based question. The first one here is for 1 mark. This is for 1 mark and this thinking based is for 2 mark. Do not lose a marks in case-based questions. And if my dear students, if you are facing any difficulty, just comment down to me. I'll sort it. Or we can even plan a separate video how to write case-based questions, how to solve them. Okay? So hope you guys have enjoyed the lecture thoroughly. We dealt with money and credit, its brief introduction, practice of 2 marker questions, 3 marker question, 4 marker question for homework and important 5 marker question. Okay. Pay attention my dear students, we are also going live on our YouTube channel right at 5 p.m. for all the subjects like SST, Science and Mathematics. Like this chapter which I recorded today, provided to you today, basically we have done live for it yesterday. Okay, we went live and we have discussed all the important MCQs, also the previous year question papers and many more competency based questions. For that you need to do one thing, you need to hit the subscribe button for the channel so that you get every notification whenever we go live or whenever we upload such important lectures. Okay, strategies are also there. You just need to be very interested, very concentrated in your studies because Deeksha Vedantu is there to help you out there. Okay, thank you to be the part of Deeksha Vedantu.